Hey guys, what's up? Loco here. Probably the biggest off-season news ever has been confirmed. I can't think of anything bigger in the history of League of Legends. Perkz is officially moving from G2 to C9. In the official announcement from the C9 video, Jack talked about a number which was 11.75 million. That's gonna be in combination with the buyout and his salary over the year, so that's still a crazy number. It is an 8-digit deal. We are getting into the territory of NFL, NBA, maybe not quite there, but crazy. It is absolutely freaking crazy. The number was rumored to be like 5 million in buyout, and Jacob Woods said something lower than that in the free agency show, so we'll probably never get to know the actual number unless Jack says it himself. But yeah, still monopoly level of money being spent for this player, and I think it's worth it. I think Perkz is that kind of player. But before we talk about Perkz, I kind of want to talk about Jack. It's a little bit different than what I normally do for my videos, but there is so much to break down here in terms of all the other pieces for this deal to happen. So yeah, let's get to that. So we're gonna go a little bit back in time to the start of 2020. C9 in spring was so historically dominant. They had a crazy record, they were beating everyone, they almost went undefeated, and they won spring pretty easily. And going into summer, they actually had a few crucial weaknesses. One was Niski wasn't the best on mages, and yeah, that really costed them a lot in terms of draft. And also, teams started to figure out that C9 was very heavily reliant on Olaf, and when they started banning out Olaf, Blaver was not the same player. And lastly, and this was really crucial during playoffs, was C9 could not play Caitlyn properly. It is actually crazy to me that they couldn't play Caitlyn properly. C9's overall playstyle was very early game heavy, was very dragon stacking heavy, and yeah, Caitlyn should fit right into that. But they ended up playing a lot of Ezreal Yuumi in playoffs, which is really shitty. It really does not highlight how good Zven and Vulcan are as players, and yeah, it really cost us C9. And with that, C9 didn't win summer. Hell, they didn't even go to Worlds. It was a crazy kind of ending to their season when you consider how dominant they are. The only other instance where I can think of a team breaking down this badly would be Immortals in 2016 summer. They were really dominant in regular season too, and they kind of fell apart in playoffs. Anyways, why I talk about all this is to set up the stage for what Jack did this offseason and how I think other owners would have handled it and other teams would have handled it. I think other teams and other owners probably would have kept Reaper and probably would have ran it back again. They have all these players on multi-year contracts. They don't need to really hit the reset button, but that's something that Jack was willing to do. Actually, it wasn't something that he was willing to do from the start, but a few things did change. He did say, and C9 did say, they were going to keep the 5 starting players, but yeah, 2 of those players ended up changing. The first piece that ended up changing was Licorice. Jack and Rainover had really high thoughts about Fudge, their academy top laner, and they considered even moving Fudge up and seeing what the team would look like if they had a top lane import. But lucky for them, Oath as a region kind of blew up and Fudge no longer counted as an import. So yeah, Fudge got to move up to the LCS roster. And another thing is Reaper moving on. From what I know, it is somewhat mutual, and they definitely had long-term plans to move on from Reaper and let Rainover be the head coach. But yeah, that's something that happened in the offseason too. And finally, the Perkz deal. One thing I really want to highlight is how unique of an owner a person like Jack is. Jack is very familiar with League of Legends. He's been part of the scene since, I want to say, like season 2, season 3-ish. He used to work for Crunchyroll, yes, Crunchyroll, the anime site, and he used to help Andy with sponsorship deals. And later on, he started his own organization along with High and crew, and that became C9. So yeah, he's been there from the very start. Another thing is, coming from like that sponsorship side, he's a very shrewd business person, and he's been able to get investments for C9, and he's been able to grow the business and grow the team. And now his current position as a CEO, he has a lot of power in terms of what kind of strings he can pull. To make the Perkz deal happen, he had to talk to his investors, he had to talk to his board, but the way C9 operates is a lot quicker and a lot more streamlined than other teams. So think of teams like 100 Thieves, think of teams like Golden Guardians. There's a GM that wants a player, then he's gonna have to talk to the CEO or the head of esports. And then they talk to the investor, and then they talk to the board. But they're not talking to someone that directly knows the value of a player like Perkz. But Jack is all those things. He's an investor, he's a CEO, he's their League of Legends GM effectively. So he can move very quickly and he can make decisions and he can make them very, very confidently, and he has the power to kind of move pieces around in the organization and convince like the key stakeholders to make this kind of deal happen. The only other owner that I can really think of that does this is Carlos. Steve also does it, but I think there is a big difference between Steve and Jack. I think Steve is an amazing businessman. He's been in finance for like 10 plus years, so he kills it on that end. And when I think about Team Liquid roster decisions and Team Liquid offseason handling, it's just throw money at something and let it stick. Where Jack is much, much smarter about things. He invested very heavily into the player development where NA was so lacking, where NA Academy was so garbage, and he's seen so much fruit from that. C9 just this year sent 4 players to different tier 1 teams. So to FlyQuest, they sent Licorice, Diamond, Palafox, and to Fnatic, they sent Niski. That's 4 players that Jack got buyouts for, and that's directly funding the Perkz deal. Sure, Steve is making money on other sides outside of like just running the esport organization, but I think when it comes to running like a tier 1 esport organization, Jack is probably the best owner out there. He just does such an amazing job with League of Legends, his native game, and also not just with League of Legends, games like CSGO. C9 is the only NA team ever to win a major. And I was gonna say Dota, but when I started to say Dota, I realized TL actually won Dota Worlds, which is called the International, with their own team. So, but Victor, the co-CEO of Team Liquid, was actually running the Dota team, so that actually doesn't count for Steve. But anyways, yeah, Jack is a crazy good owner, and I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of teams really, really wanted Perkz, but it was C9 that got him. When Jack wants a player, like, he will spend and he will make sure he gets it done. It's not quite in Steve fashion. It's a lot more thinking and a lot more smart investments involved. I hope I got my point through. I rambled quite a bit. Anyways, let's talk about what you're actually here on this video for. Perkz, he's a 8-time LEC champion. 8-time. 8 fucking times. Count it with me. He is a world finalist. He is an MSI winner. He's a 2-time world semi-finalist. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So this is where you're gonna tell me we've had accomplished European players come over before and not do so well. Zven, Mitty, Yellowstar, Froggen, and yeah, that is definitely true, but Perkz is a different monster altogether. He's 22 years young, 22. He has his entire career in front of him and he's accomplished this much. And it's not like he's a washed up mid laner. Oh, Perkz was a worse mid laner than Caps, that's why he's playing AD carry. In spring 2020, Perkz played mid lane and he led G2 to another championship. He is by far one of the best players in LEC. I don't think there should be any questions regarding to that. And the only real person that could really hold a candle to Perkz would be Caps in terms of mid lane talent back in Europe. So yeah, we are getting one of the best players in Europe at his prime, at his full power. I could sit here and do a 10-minute video on Perkz' gameplay, but that's not the only thing he brings to the table. The intangibles, the leadership. I'm gonna say it outright. The G2 dynasty does not happen without Perkz. I think Carlos is a great owner, but Perkz has such a big hand in making that dynasty happen. Zven and Mitty, the best in the West, why don't I just take that from Origin? Caps, a franchise player for Fnatic, a start of a dynasty, let me stomp that out. Let me take your best player and he's gonna play for my team. Perkz made that happen. Carlos definitely helped, but there's a magnetic aspect to Perkz. Players just want to play with him. He runs Europe. That's just how it is. This is a player that's very social. This is a player that has leadership. And also G2's attitude of we're gonna have fun and we're gonna be great doing it and we're gonna laugh in your face, we're gonna trash talk. That kind of mood and that kind of vibe stems from Perkz. It's his leadership. It's how he behaves on the team. It's why G2 players are so able to openly communicate with each other, figure out problems, and keep getting better and push each other. Like some of the things that G2 was doing on another team without their culture, without Perkz' leadership, it would have not worked. This guy was so crucial in making that dynasty happen. Talk to anyone in Europe, talk to anyone with the insight in G2, and they'll tell you Perkz is the key member on making everything happen like that. Perkz built G2 to the team that it is today, and he's going to be doing the exact same thing on C9. There are going to be obstacles. I don't think NA scrims and I don't think NA solo queue has the same kind of quality that European solo queue and European scrims have. But C9, despite all that, managed to be a step above, not even just one step, like 2 steps, 3 steps above every other NA team back in spring 2020. So with Perkz, with Jack, with Rainover, I don't see a reason why they can't make that happen again in 2021. They are going to do something absolutely freaking special. For those of you that are telling me that Perkz might not be comfortable in NA and he might not adapt properly, Perkz went through a lot of hardships in his life. His father passed away and he still came back kicking to dominate Europe. He is not someone that has a problem dealing with hardships. Sure, he might be a little bit uncomfortable, but I think reuniting with Zidane and also having Mitti join him as a coach on C9, he's just going to kill it. I think next season looks really interesting between C9 and Team Liquid. There was a third team in there with TSM, but there is a chance that Sword Art deal falls through and Double F retires. I actually don't think Double F retiring will be a big deal. Lost is a crazy good AD carry from Academy. He's gonna move up. The thing that's weird about that is now EG doesn't have the AD carry because of that, but that's for another video. But yeah, next season looks so exciting in NA. I cannot believe Jack pulled this off, getting Perkz to come over to NA. And for those of you guys that are Fnatic fans, you might be a little salty, but it's just how it is. C9 ran a much better organization than Fnatic did. In a world where Fnatic is run better, they have the money, they retain caps, like none of this is a problem to start with. So Fnatic fans, don't blame C9, don't blame G2, it's just how it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know why I randomly threw shade at Fnatic fans. No need to start shit, but it is what it is. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Bye!
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words.